All right, everybody, we are live with the Working Fans Podcast. It's the man called Dave and AJ Strangebrew.
Oh, no, I was just looking to make sure it was you.
Yeah, it's us. And we are going to talk about WWE Crown Jewel. We're going to talk about TNA Bound for Glory. We're going to get AJ's predictions on the Wrestle Dream card as it stands right now. And we're even going to compare who's the better wrestler, Mickie James or Charlotte Flair. We'll talk about that later on.
We should also debate whether it's better to like or subscribe, or maybe both.
Do both. All right, let's kick it off. TNA, Bound for Glory, and let's get right to this. I had
which is a lot better than that S&M movie you watched, Bound Glory.
what do we got here? Hold on a second, pal. You know that this was the only one that I didn't save.
Well, you know, it was a lackluster card to begin with. I don't think that they really delivered. I mean, we'll talk about the individual matches, but on a whole, I don't think they made TNA look very strong. Really, the only person in TNA they made look strong was Mike Santana. Other than that, they didn't really do a great job with the TNA talent, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that we were in the minority of that, though. We were talking to people, and it seemed like a lot of people actually really enjoyed this pay-per-view.
No, wait a minute. I didn't say people didn't enjoy the pay-per-view. I said they didn't do a good job of making TNA look strong.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I think the biggest complaint was that Leon Slater, Javon Evans match. But let's get to this card here. AJ, you didn't get to watch all of this, but I'll get to this here. So Steve Maclin, Frankie Kazarian opened up the show. Steve Maclin won the TNA Championship right back after just losing it. Great match. I saw it. You did it, but fired up crowd. But what do you think about the decision of having Frankie win the title just to lose it?
Well, I think it makes sense. I mean, you put the title on him. I think it really was just to build up Frankie again. And then obviously later in the card, we'll find out why the belt's not going to be on him going forward, because he's going to have a chance at the actual championship.
Well, it's the championship of his choosing. Maybe he'll choose the international title for all we know.
Yeah, because why wouldn't you?
Sometimes they do that. Tessa Blanchard defeated Gia Miller, the ring announcer. Gia, we found out afterwards, we talked about it before, actually had some wrestling experience. But as a guy who got to watch this, I will tell you, I would see why she didn't continue to pursue that career. They gave her some good hope spots, but ultimately Tessa won, which should have been what happened.
From the highlights that I saw, because I did see highlights from the match, they did good psychology. I liked Tessa Blanchard giving her the head. They did some good quick spots where it looked like Gia could upset her. I don't think Gia's got enough talent to actually wrestle full time, but she did enough to make this a fun match.
That she did. And like AJ was saying earlier, Frankie Kazarian won the 22-person gauntlet intergender. 22-person intergender call your shot gauntlet. Frankie and Nick Nemeth won. They were co-winners. And, man, it gave me the vibes of Lex Luger, Bret Hart, Royal Rumble, and 1994. And AJ, I think we could all agree that is one of our favorite Royal Rumbles. We love the co-winner aspect.
Really, anytime there's co-winners for anything, I think it's the way to go in professional wrestling. I don't think you can do that enough. Quite frankly, every match now should be co-winners.
Absolutely. What do we want? We want one winner, one. No, we want two. We want two winners. Continuing on, Kalani Jordan defeated Indy Hartwell. I was surprised they kept it on Kalani. We both thought she must be a transitional champion. Well, she is. She's going to be transitioning a little longer.
It was a surprise of the night for me. However, I love seeing Kalani Jordan go over. She is absolutely an amazing athlete. She can do everything in the ring, and her personality is really starting to come through.
That she is. The System, Moosh, Alicia Edwards, Brian Myers, Eddie Edwards, and JDC defeated Order 4, Mustafa Ali, Tasha Steele, Special Agent Zero, Jason Hotch, and John Schuyler. Fun hardcore match. both these teams really are going to be kept strong. Both are strong factions in TNA right now.
Once again, unfortunately, I'm pretty much going based on highlights. And anytime you're going based on highlights, any match can seem really, really good. Well, except for the one later tonight. But yeah, it looked like a solid match.
All right, Leon Slater and Javon Evans. It was fun while it lasted. They went to a 20-minute time limit draw, which the crowd shit on that. But then we said, you know what? We're going to give you 5 more minutes. AJ wasn't ready for 5 more minutes, but we did it anyway. And then we had Dark State come out and beat them both up.
Well, the good news is the only thing better than having 2 people win a match is to have Dark State come out and have nobody win. Even better way to go.
Absolutely. We got some comments here. The X Division match was great, but bad finish. Mike Santana, the right guy to be the face of TNA Wrestling. We'll get to that, Randy. And great to see AJ Strangebrew on again. Baby, you back.
Randy, it's great to be back. I know Dave tries to keep me out of your life, but I'm here.
All right, the Hardys defeated Team 3D in a table match. AJ, you did see this. Devon didn't die.
Devon didn't die. However, the match did. I know a lot of people love the match. They love the sentimentality of the match. I think the match was shit. I think that, unfortunately, they should have done this match about 3 years ago and called it quits. It was absolutely horrible. It was dog shit in a bag.
All right. So most people were really enjoyed the sentimental moment of this match. We talked about this off air. That a lot of people didn't really hate it as much as we do. I just didn't find it that exciting. I don't want to say we hated it, but it just wasn't really.
I went back to watch it because I wanted to actually, make sure that I wasn't being too harsh on it, and I wasn't being harsh enough.
So he just didn't care for the moment. Hey, listen, the Hardys are still champs. Obviously, that was the right call. They are going to be at NXT Halloween Havoc coming up too, defending the titles there.
Unfortunately, the best of the 3 teams that from that time period wasn't invited because Edge and Christian were a little too busy.
That's true. But they'll be wrestling. The Hardys will be defending against Dark State again. I do wonder if they will keep it. This is a little way off of TNA. We'll get back to TNA, but on that show last night too, Leon Slater and Javon were seen in the back talking. I think they want a tag match with somebody together. Are we going to eventually get Leon Slater and Javon Evans against the Hardys?
First of all, that'd be a great tag team. They're not driving that way. They're driving towards Dark State. However, wouldn't it have made more sense if Dark State, attacked either the Hardys or the Dudley Boys during that match instead of the 2 singles wrestlers?
Yeah, even the Hardys actually talked about that on the show last night. So don't take that personally, guys. That was meant for us. They're trying to get our attention.
Yeah.
So I feel like they haven't kind of covered up for that. All right, let's get to what Randy had talked about here. We got a comment here. Crown Jewel seems interesting. Yep, we're going to get right to that. But let's talk about the main event of TNA Slammiversary. Mike Santana going over Trick Williams, and it was a great match. And AJ, I have to say, even though you weren't crazy about what you saw, this was the highlight of the show.
So Mike Santana and Trick Williams both brought it, both great athletes, really showed what professional wrestling can do, showed the emotion that it can bring out in people. They had the crowd in the palm of their hands. The ending with the daughter, absolutely phenomenal in my opinion. Great storytelling. This match made watching the rest of the card worthwhile in my opinion.
Yeah, Mike Santana had posted something too on social media afterwards, just talking about his daughter and how she had wrote a letter to Santa when she was younger to make Daddy stop, talking about some of Mike's problems with alcohol and some of his addictions. And I think when you can make something feel real, because obviously a lot of this was real, it's hard not to get excited and get invested in it. I mean, Terry Funk talked about that back in the day, getting people emotionally invested in it by pulling from real stuff in your life. And Mike Santana is a guy that has not only changed like emotionally and everything, but physically. He's changed his whole look and presence, and he looks like a main eventer out there right now.
It's amazing what getting off drugs and alcohol will actually do for your physique and for your mental stability. However, one of the things that I've always believed about professional wrestling is the best cards are the ones where, I know this match is going to go this way. I know this match is going to go that way. But when you have that match, can draw you in, especially for us longtime fans, and make us suspend belief, make us actually get so caught up in it that even us hardened vets don't know what's going to happen. And there were times in the match I thought Trick was going to win, and they pulled us in.
Absolutely. Jamal Simpson says Crown Jewel seems interesting. Well, it already happened, in case you didn't know. And we were going to go into that card. So let's go to the Crown Jewel and Perth card. That's right, Crown Jewel and Perth.
Do you think it was Perth getting up so early?
I mean, I was already up. So, let's take a look at this card right here. We got I would say the shocker of the night we're going to first talk about. Bronson Reed defeated Roman Reigns in an Australian street fight. I know Bronson's from Australia. I know that Bronson had put him on a stretcher before, even though he lost that match, but they were bringing up the stretcher, so we were going to believe that Bronson had all the edge going to this. But we definitely all believed Roman was going to win this. This wasn't really in question, and we were wrong. Bronson Reed gets the big win, and that makes what happens later on Monday even more interesting too. But let's talk about Big Bronson Reed in this match.
If you had Bronson Reed on your bingo card going over Roman Reigns, God bless you, and you're full of shit. Not a one of us saw that coming. We knew it'd be a hard-hitting match. We knew that Bronson Reed obviously can deliver in the ring. Roman's one of the greatest of all time. So between the two of them, the chemistry was fantastic. And I'm looking forward to the next one because they're going to have another banger at some point. You got to believe Bronson Reed's not going away with 1-1.
Yeah, they are tied at 1-1, and Braun Breaker did help get him the victory. And we'll talk a little bit about Braun Breaker as we get towards the match with Seth, too, later.
Well, that's weird. He didn't have a match on the card.
He didn't, but we will talk about him a little bit. All right, continuing on here, Stephanie McCurr defeated Tiffany Stratton for the Crown Jewel Women's Championship. So Stephanie wins the Crown Jewel Championship this year. We talked about this off air, how we didn't think this match really mattered as much for Seth and Cody, but here it felt a little more important for two young women really trying to carve their niche. And Stephanie McCurr, man, this girl not only has a connection with the crowd, she's just as fantastic in the ring.
No matter how good both of these female wrestlers are, they are so young in their careers. Both of them are still just green as can be. And by green as can be, I'm not insulting them. Their moves in the ring, they're fantastic. They're awesome. I mean, just from a standpoint of there's no limit to where they can go. They are in a very rare boat with, and I'll be honest with you, the only other person I put in that boat, Roxanne Perez, with how amazing it can be to see where they're going. Rhea Ripley, I think, is a similar boat, but she's a little bit past where they are. She's that next stratosphere, but they're heading for that stratosphere very quickly.
Yeah, no doubt. There are two women to get great reactions, and there's a lot of women like that right now. All right, let's get to possibly the other match of the night here. I thought this was really a 1-2-3 because the rest of the show was solid, but my favorite three moments were these first three matches. And this is going to the veterans. John Cena and AJ Styles. Heck of a match. It was like a video game match. They borrowed a little bit of everything. Cena was using the Sister Abigail. He teased going for the 619. AJ Styles had his old shorts from TNA. John Cena, I missed this too because I was watching on a delay and I had skipped it. AJ made a point to make sure I watched it. Had an own personal introduction written for AJ Styles, the face of Total Nonstop Action, the leader of the Bullet Club. Just amazing stuff here. Great match. Cena gets the victory, and this is probably maybe the most memorable match of the card other than Bronson beating Roman.
This is the classic example of you don't have to go over to be shined. You can make another wrestler, and not that AJ Styles needs to be made, but maybe going into his final year, which he announced the night before, maybe going into his final year, some people have forgotten how good AJ actually is. And I'll be honest with you, John Cena, the first 20 years of his career, I couldn't care less about his matches. over the last couple months between the Brock Lesnar selling his ass off and now AJ Styles, I'm enjoying John Cena. He saved his last 5 matches to make me enjoy this. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, even his match with Cody at SummerSlam, I thought was awesome. Continuing on this card, though, Io Sky and Rhea Ripley defeated the Kabuki Warriors. This one wasn't as intriguing to me because I felt like I knew where it was going, and I don't think this is the end of this. Great to see Ripley and Io get the victory, but for the most part, it was just a match for me.
Well, the other surprising thing for me was I didn't feel like the chemistry was there in this match like it has been in the past, which is very surprising. Obviously, all of these women have worked together many times, and especially, the Kabuki Warriors and Io over in Japan and coming over. But for some reason, this match just lacked a little something.
All right, and the final match, Seth Rollins defeated Cody Rhodes. He used the watch, and he got the victory, but might have, more importantly, injured himself in this.
I don't think there's any might have.
He's definitely injured himself at some point. We don't know what the injury is. So I didn't even really talk about this match. Seth Rollins got the win. I think me and AJ both agreed. We didn't think this was a very important match.
I didn't think this was the time for him to get the win. If you're going to give him a comeback, this is not the time to do it. You had to give it a bigger scale. Although they see Crown Jewel as a big scale.
But that being said, let's get to the end of Monday Night Raw. We'll stick with our Crown Jewel. We're not going to go too much to Raw this week, but let's talk about this moment. Braun Breaker. So there was a main event. Let's talk about it. There was a number 1 contenders match first, a 3-way between CM Punk, Jey Uso, and LA Knight. LA Knight has Punk pinned. Jey comes in the ring, knocks out LA Knight, and ends up taking care of LA Knight. As he's getting back in the ring, Punk hits the go to sleep, pins Jey Uso. Punk is the number 1 contender.
Dude, he just hit the freaking go to sleep. He hit him so hard, knocked his grill out.
Knocked Jey Uso's grill out. And out comes, at the end of the show, the Vision. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins follows. Braun Breaker in particular, though, lays out LA Knight, lays out Jey Uso, and then they beat down CM Punk. Seth Rollins is, celebrating. He had said, this is one of the greatest nights of his life, the achievements they're making. And then, bam, Braun Breaker spears Seth Rollins, lays him out, and then looks at Bronson Reed. You either in this or you're not. Are you with me? Bronson Reed gives him a tsunami. They look at Paul Heyman. Paul looks shook, but he says, I'm with you guys. And at the end of this now, we got the Vision minus Seth Rollins standing tall.
And I think they made the right decision. If you look at how they built that up, I think they had Braun Breaker actually take people out on purpose because they wanted to show that domination. They did the same thing on the pay-per-view.
Right.
He's literally become a dominating force in wrestling. And I think that this is the right move considering what happened with his shoulder. And hopefully we're going to get to see maybe a CM Punk Braun Breaker for the championship. Is he going to be the first did Scott win the world championship in WWE?
Not in WWE.
No, that's so he could be the first Steiner to actually win the world championship in the WWE, similar to Cody Rhodes.
Absolutely, absolutely. He's got all the tools. It'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. All right, we're going to continue on here. Got some other stuff to celebrate and talk about. In fact, before we go to Wrestle Dreamer card, let's talk about a couple other things. Sticking with John Cena. John Cena has only got a couple more matches left. I believe one of them is going to be against Dominic Mysterio at Survivor Series. The talk is that Gunther is going to get his last match at Saturday's main event. I don't have a problem with that because I like Gunther, but I see the look on your face. You're thinking the same thing. It's not what you would like. So let's talk about what we would like, what we think is possible, and what we think is likely.
I think Gunther could be one of the 3 matches. I don't think he's going to be the final match. I think Jericho's coming back for the final match.
Okay.
I believe in my soul that Chris Jericho is going to sign with TNA, and they're going to have a crossover with Chris Jericho versus – because I don't think he'll come back to WWE. But I think that he's going to sign with TNA, and they're going to have a crossover where Jericho wrestles Cena in his final match.
All right, we shall see. I'm going to give my opinion on I would like it to be Edge. That's not going to happen. I'm pretty sure Edge has still got time on his contract, whether it's injury time or whatever the case. I don't think it's going to happen.
Triple H at the post
said that's probably not going to happen.
Said that's not
but that's what I would like. So I'm just saying what I would like. I'm not telling you what I think is going to happen. I'd also like it to be Jericho, but
what do you think?
I'm not going to make that prediction. I'm going to go with the safe bet and go Gunther for now because I just don't feel like there's enough evidence yet for it to be Jericho.
No, Joe. We don't need to call an ambulance. He'll find his spine.
I don't think it's Jericho yet. I hope it's Jericho. I hope I'm wrong. And I know that there's a cruise booked and no AEW wrestlers on there.
He also used the walls of Jericho in the match.
He didn't
use a Boston Crab.
He used the spear. He used the Boston Crab. It's the same damn move. Wow. Okay. There's a slight variation. All right. Let's continue on here before we get back to wrestling cards. A comparison. We do a few of these on our channel. And this time we're looking at the ladies. We're going to see who do we think is the better overall wrestler here between these two legends. No disrespect to either one. We both love both.
We're going with who's the better wrestler?
Yeah, I mean, but you know what?
Or better career so far.
No, we're going to go wrestler and be subjective because we could talk career too. But, we're going to take presence. Now, I'm saying I know where you're going with this. That Charlotte is one of the greatest of all times. There's no disrespect to Mickey, but there's very few people that can. So I'll just ask you this. Is Charlotte, in your mind, the greatest female wrestler of all time?
Charlotte is not only the greatest female wrestler I've seen of all time, she might be the greatest pure wrestler, period, I've seen of all time. And now, don't get me wrong. I lean towards Kurt Angle. I lean towards, obviously, her father's in the conversation. Yeah. He's done all right for himself. But Charlotte, to me, and I'm not Charlotte's biggest fan. I don't always like the way the matches are put together. I think that sometimes, she seems like she could be a bit of an jackass. But she's fucking amazing.
All right. So I'm not going to – I like Charlotte Flair. I'm not know if I'm going to go that far. She's one of the greats. And I do think she is a better wrestler than Mickey if we're just talking pure wrestling ability. Because Charlotte isn't that, I'm going to say, top 3 of all-time women when it comes to in the ring. But that being said, since he brought up career, I'm still going to go Charlotte Flair because she's like the only woman to actually headline a WrestleMania. And I'm not talking one of like the night 2 WrestleManias. Yeah. Her, Ronda Rousey, and Becky Lynch did it. So
and they stole the show. They didn't just have main event it. They fucking delivered.
Yeah, and Charlotte says, and that's no knock on Mickey, who's had a hell of a career in the TNA Hall of Fame. I expect her to be in WWE Hall of Fame someday. She's fantastic. But yeah, when we're comparing with Charlotte Flair, at least at this side of the table, we're going to tell you we think Charlotte Flair is there's very few women. If we're going to compare careers, I think the only one I'm thinking off the top of my head, you're going to have to look at like Becky Lynch.
Yeah, Becky Lynch.
Mercedes.
I mean, you could go Mercedes in there. Mickey James is on par with Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus, if you want to make that comparison, then absolutely. And Mickey might actually win that one. Because of her time in TNA, because her career lasted longer, she might actually win that one. But you put her up against Becky, Sasha, hell, you put her up against Bayley, I'm not sure that Mickey James wins.
All right, before we leave this subject, I'll take this comment. Randy Oscar, is Mercedes having a better run in AEW or WWE? I'm going to go WWE only because she has main evented at least, one of the WrestleManias. It was a night 1, and she's had so many titles there. But the jury's still out because she's having she has to at least win the AEW Women's World Title, I think, for this to be, in a discussion.
I'm going to go WWE, but for a different reason. I'm going to go WWE because she spends more time wrestling away from AEW than she actually does in AEW. She's won championships all around the world now, but it's bringing her away from the promotion. So you're not seeing her as much as you did in the WWE. That being said, she does still put together great matches. Her match with Toni Storm was fantastic. Her matches with Chris Statlander are fantastic. It's hard to hate on her.
All right. And speaking of AEW, let's get right to it. Wrestle Dream is this weekend, Saturday, October 18th, St. Louis, Missouri. And so far we are airing this tonight, if you watch it later, before Dynamite. So I'm assuming there's going to be more matches because it's very unlike AEW to have only 6 matches for a pay-per-view.
Yeah, they like to have about 12 matches per pay-per-view. So
at least. So I will read what we got off so far.
Can I ask you a question real quick? I just want to ask you a question. Sure. Are you in this pay-per-view looking more forward to Samoa Joe versus Hangman Page, or are you looking more towards Toni Storm versus Chris Statlander? Which match makes you more interested in this pay-per-view?
So the way I'm with the ladies have been on fire lately, and I think there's a better story with Toni and Statlander. But I've never seen Samoa Joe and Hangman, and I actually find that match to be very intriguing just because I've never seen it. So for me, it's Samoa Joe Hangman.
And I do find them both very interesting, but I've never seen Toni Storm that I can remember versus Chris Statlander one-on-one either.
That's fair.
So this is going to be an intriguing night, and I think that they've done a good job with co-main events here.
All right, let's start off. First match listed here. Darby Allin versus Jon Moxley. I Quit match.
Yeah, so here's a match we haven't seen. Darby Allin versus Jon Moxley one-on-one. I haven't seen it at least in like 3 or 4 days since they were at Comic-Con. But I am looking forward to this one. Both of them are fantastic wrestlers. Both of them are willing to take a beating. And this is going to be a savage match.
Who do you think's to win?
I think Darby's going over.
It's an I Quit match. I don't see Darby giving up. I can see him passing out, but we'll see how to do.
But we also know that in professional wrestling, sometimes the rules don't matter.
They don't. All right, here's an interesting one. Brandino and Brody King defend the tag titles against the Don Callis family members of Okada and Takeshita. Takeshita is now the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Okada is the what the hell belt does he hold now? Whatever they call that.
The International Continental Championship that doesn't matter at all.
The Unified Championship, yeah. Sure. As that title means anything to me. So anyway, but a hell of a match. But I just don't think that. I think the problem's going to be Takeshita and Okada don't get along here. And
I think they're setting up Okada versus Takeshita for the IWGP Championship. They could win the tag, but I don't see it happening.
Does MJF come back at Wrestle Dream? Let me get back to you at the end of the show here.
I do like his new gimmick. I like MJF's new style. If he's going to be a little bit more hardcore and actually come out and fight, I could definitely get behind this MJF.
Kyle Fletcher defends the TNT Championship against Mark Briscoe. I say Kyle Fletcher wins with the help of MJF.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to be with the help of MJF, but I do think Kyle Fletcher wins.
Jurassic Express, Jack Perry and Luchasaurus versus the Young Bucks. The winners receive $500,000 in cash prize. I'd like to see the actual check that comes that tonight.
Do you think it'd be more fitting if we actually called Christian Cage and Adam Copeland Jurassic Express?
Oh, I'm not going to. We won't have to insult those legends like that. I'll go Jurassic Express, but I don't really know. This one can go either way.
It depends a lot on what happens tonight. I'd like to see what happens because last time we saw Jurassic Express did get laid out, and a lot of I think you have to give them some heat, especially with both of them returning.
Sorry, Randy. No watch along tonight for AEW Dynamite. It's a 3-hour show, by the way. I don't know if you caught that. I just found that out. They're doing Dynamite and Collision. I guess Collision only gets an hour tonight. But all right, finishing up this pay-per-view, I'm going to let the ladies finish the last match. Samoa Joe and Hangman Page for the AEW Heavyweight Championship. Well, I guess this is another argument why I would say Toni Storm and Statlander might be a little more interesting because I feel like as much as I like Joe, Hangman's not losing that title yet.
No, it's not time yet. This is going to be a slobber knocker, too. They are going to beat the crap out of each other. I don't think a Samoa Joe match ever goes without them beating the crap out of each other. But if you're going to tune into a pay-per-view this year because you want to see two main events where people just beat the crap out of each other, this is the pay-per-view to watch.
All right, guys. Let's not forget to also.
Oh, wait a minute.
Like and subscribe.
You said you're going to give the ladies the main event. And then
I didn't say I wasn't going to give that. I just wanted to throw that little like and subscribe thing up there. I didn't know it was going to throw you off your game. Yes, in the main event, Toni Storm versus Chris Statlander. I would not forget this. The AEW Women's Championship. I'm going to go Statlander. I wasn't crazy about her winning it in a fatal four-way, but I do think that she's going to make a great champion. I like the way they've been booking her since. And, I think that I think she keeps the title.
Toni Storm does not need the title right now. She's gotten herself above needing the title. Chris Statlander, for where they're going currently, I think that she needs the title, and I think that it'll help the division to have a champion like Statlander, who I believe is more beatable, to be honest with you.
All right, and that will be Wrestle Dream this Saturday. Will we see any surprises? Randy wants to know. Randy, I'm not sure. Maybe MJF shows up. We'll have to wait and see. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. But also, hey, watch Wrestle Dream.